Good evening, everybody.
Good evening. Good evening.
Welcome to DifferenceMaker Demo Day 2024. My name is Steve Tello. I'm actually interim director of the DifferenceMaker program for the summer, and some of you know that I helped start the program back in 2012 or so. We're really excited to have everybody here tonight. We appreciate you coming out on a summer's evening, a hot summer's evening. Please feel free to get up, get some more food, get dessert, get coffee, iced tea, whatever you like. And I'm really excited about what we have going on with us tonight. All right, and I will advance the program. Okay, so there's an agenda. We have some comments that we'll be making. Our friends here will make a few comments. David's going to explain the mentor program. So one of the purposes, we got a couple of objectives this evening. One, we have, is it 8 teams pitching tonight?
Yeah.
8 of the 10 teams that won funding at the Idea Challenge just completed a boot camp, a 4-week boot camp program. And so they'll be pitching tonight, and they'll be showing you what they've learned about forming a business and the particular opportunity that they're looking at. So that's one of the purposes, for them to show what they've accomplished. But 2, we're also recruiting mentors for the teams. And so some of you here will have an opportunity to, here's the teams maybe for the first time, and you can decide, is this something that, maybe a team that I would like to help move forward. So it'll be a great opportunity for them to pitch and for you all to learn and then decide how you'd like to help out. So let me just give you sort of a nutshell version. The DifferenceMaker Institute has been supported by our good friend and colleague, Brian Riss, and Brian's going to say a few words after. The DifferenceMaker program is really about supporting the innovative and entrepreneurial efforts of our students. And we do that by providing mentoring, training, network opportunities, funding, and growth opportunities beyond the university. So our teams may start here at the university, but then they may go on to E4All or to Mass Challenge or to other events. They'll grow, we'll help connect them with other people, and hopefully they'll establish successful ventures, whether it's a for-profit or non-profit organization. We work cross-campus, so we work with all disciplines. We have students from fine arts, engineering, social science, from engineering, from business, from health sciences, and we're very proud of that. And this is our 12th year, right? Yeah, pretty exciting. The teams have done a lot. In fact, we have to update this slide, but updating it is a bit of a challenge because we have to actually go out and contact all of the teams that have pitched. So we're in the process. Nick, where's Nick? We're in the process of doing that, aren't we, Nick?
Yes, we are.
But you can see the teams have accomplished a lot. We've awarded, it's over it's probably close to $700,000 at this point. The teams have generated $15 million in grant and funds and business revenue. Teams have raised money to support their efforts. 43 companies have formed. So the teams have done a lot, in a big part due to your support, whether that's as a mentor, financially, connections. There's a lot of work that you all do that helps make our team successful. So I mentioned the boot camp, and I know David's going to talk more about the mentor program in a minute, but the objective of the boot camp is basically to help increase the students' understanding of who their customers are, what those customers want, what's the business model for their venture, again, whether it's a for-profit, a non-profit, or even a club. They need to think about how they're going to actually support their activities financially. And also some teams may have had to pivot. So how do you pivot? How do you change direction if you've learned that what you pitched back in April may not be really what your customers want? You have to make an adjustment. They've also had to develop a 1-year project plan with milestones, which we require before we give out money. So I always say we never give a blank check. We never actually give cash to folks. We have the funds set aside. They show to us that they're going to move forward. They show us what they're going to move forward and spend the money on. And then we allow them to make those purchases and move the venture forward. So over the boot camp, we had a lot of great support. We had advisors, Raja Abdulaz and Ray Hamilton from Invisaware, which is one of the more successful DifferenceMaker teams. You may have seen them on Good Morning America, ADT, lots of different places. Sharab Banati, who is the founder and CEO of Nightcap It, and Kevin Willett. Kevin is in the back here. Kevin has been a great friend of DifferenceMaker. Since we were talking about this, Kevin, pretty close to the beginning of the foundation of the organization. And I know Kevin has a group called Friends of Kevin, and a number of you have joined us this evening, so welcome. We also had some great speakers, and the boot camp was done virtually this year. The idea was trying to see if it would increase the participation of the teams. David, what do you think?
It was a mix.
A mix.
It was a mix.
We'll see. But we did have a number of great speakers. Caitlin Fuentes from our Office of Student Activities and Leadership helped talk to the students about how to access and spend their funds. Ray Hamilton from Invisiware talked about startup funding opportunities. In fact, those of you in the academic side, there are now 3 case studies that have been written about Invisiware that are actually being used in classrooms. Chris McKenna and Chris Bork from Foley and Ladner came in and talked to the teams about protecting their intellectual property and about business formation. Sharat talked about her experience on Shark Tank and how she moved her venture forward. Brian Riston, Brian's going to talk in a minute, talked about his journey from startup, then fielded questions from the teams, and they were pretty good. They had some great questions.
Very good.
Yeah. And Dave Adelaro has talked about time management and project planning, which is something that every successful venture needs to pay attention to. We do have a number of folks that help move the program forward. Certainly our faculty fellows, we have faculty who work within each college that spend time mentoring the teams and helping recruit students to participate. And we have quite a few. I think I saw Ray here. Yeah, Ray, how you doing? And I know Kevin's here. I'm not sure I see any of our other fellows.
Akshay's in India, but he sends his regards.
What's that?
Akshay's in India, but he sends his
Oh,
regards.
okay. All right, we'll take that. I will scold the rest of tomorrow with an email, so. But no, they're a great group, and we appreciate their support. I also want to give a shout out to our leader back there, Dean Brenda Evans, who's like totally embarrassed now that I've done that. But Brenda, DifferenceMaker aligns under her organization. So Brenda, we appreciate the support of you and your team, as well as Provost Hartman and Chancellor Chen, who have been strong advocates for the programs over the years. So with that, I would like to ask Brian Riss to come on up. Brian and the Riss Foundation actually help support DifferenceMaker. Brian was the founder and CEO of StormSmart, chairman of the Riss Family Foundation, and a double Riverhawk.
There you go.
Congratulations.
I always get to follow the big speakers, so that's but first of all, good evening, and I really want to thank you guys for all being part of it and allowing me to talk here tonight. It truly is an honor. I've watched this thing for the last 10 years, and it just seems like it grows every single year, not only in size, but in the quality of what y'all are doing. The amount of guidance and hard work you got done is very, very impressive. I had the opportunity about 10 days ago to really bore you guys for about an hour on a telephone call, so I won't waste too much of your time. But I think y'all figured out by now, it's just all about hard work, and that truly what it's all about. I'm living proof that you don't have to be a genius to be successful in business. I was very, very fortunate. We sold our business a little bit more than 3 years ago, but it really just came down to hard work. And the things we talked about the other day too, it's about perseverance. You see, and you'll learn as you go along that the roads to success is just littered with people who quit. One stop, one try, one more chance before they're successful. You just have to persevere. And there's a story about a tourist in here, and it's a very, very true story. The road to success is just littered with people who could have made it if they tried one more time. I think it's important to note that the Wright brothers probably tried to fly over 500 times before they actually got the plane to fly. Thomas Edison failed over 1,000 times before he made a light bulb come on. And he said to many people that it wasn't that he failed 10,000 times, he just found 10,000 reasons not to do something before he finally found the way that it was to successful. There's another guy who watched his name not being called over 299 times in a football draft a number of years back now, and his name is Tom Brady. And think of how it turned out for him if he had quit while the first 20 names weren't called. It wasn't his name. It's all about perseverance. It's all about hard work. Nobody said being an entrepreneur and running a business is going to be easy. It just isn't going to be. It's going to take a lot of hard work. There'll be many, many hard days and many tough times. And I shared with you all a saying that really got me through some of the rougher days that I went through when I was starting my business. And I've said it a number of times up here. And if you always remember when things are really, really tough, you remember businesses don't fail, people quit. And if you remember that and you don't quit, it's amazing how successful you can be. Once again, I'd like to congratulate you for all the work you've done. I'm very, very inspired by the things I've watched. Good luck tonight and good luck going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. That was great. So I'm here to talk about the mentor program. One of the aspects of the mentor, one of the things is, as a mentor, which we're recruiting for tonight, we want you to come in and help students with business concepts, technology concepts, following through with different things, legal issues. It could be anything you can contribute, nonprofit help, real estate items. It can go on and on and on, all the details of all these different aspects of a business. That's what we're looking for. So we've been working with the teams. That's what we've been doing for the past several months. And now we want you to come in and work with them also. So I'm going to be sending out a survey to many people. So I have different surveys for people who have already participated in the program. I'll send you the information I already know. I'll ask you to update them. But essentially, we got a few questions here. You'll see my interest in the DifferenceMaker program is actually becoming a mentor. Or if you just came to support the teams, you'll select Demo Day Guest, and then I won't send you any more emails. So that's, because I know that's been a thing where people, I might have sent them too many emails, so that's why I put this in here. If you're a student team member, you select that. If you're the team leader, you'll select that. The team leader is going to be doing all this, basically the matching criteria for their team, where the team members won't. So if you do select you want to be a mentor, you'll see we have different options. Basically the basic team member, basic team mentor, where you'll be working on a monthly basis. We really ask about 4 hours a month to your team. However that's allocated, that would be with phone calls, meetings, any emails, things of that nature. So that's sort of like the standard team mentor where you'll be kind of participating for that for 4 hours. But having said that, if you want to participate for more than 4 hours and the team, you both agree, that's great too, or less, as long as everybody understands the expectations, that's appropriate. We also have this thing called a consulting mentor. And this is something we added last year, where essentially you don't necessarily want to be focused on a particular team, but you're open to having questions every so often. We'll reach out to you and we'll say, hey, this team has a question regarding your expertise. If you have a moment, you can speak with them or communicate with them via email. And if you just don't have the time right now, but you're interested, we have an option for future mentor, where you can say, I can't do it, and I think I might even have a section, yeah, we do, we have you put a part there where you can add a date when you'd be available, and then we can reach out to you at that point. So I find this to kind of help distinguish those different areas, very helpful, and then the rest of it is learning about your skills, your available time, things like that. Because we don't want to match people who don't, their schedules don't align. So, and student teams, when you put in your schedule for times, you want to put in really the fall, not just the summer, because I know your schedules will change and we really get active in September going forward till the next year. So essentially the survey will be emailed. I'm looking to get it by July 19th. I forgot to update this, but 29th will probably be the absolute latest, because I want to get more of the mentors in there first so the teams can kind of see who the mentors are, because we actually give like little description of each mentor, because you can actually pick anonymously based on their skill set, and there's other pieces too. But essentially background and skills, teams of interest, and monthly meeting availability. And on the team form, mentors you'll pick by interest, by their email. So tonight, if you match, find a mentor tonight, get their email address, and you can actually use it in this form. and then we can match by that way. And the same with the mentors, if you get the team name, well, you'll pick it from a list. And then your monthly meeting availability. And we go from there. We use our DifferenceMaker staff. Last year, Nick helped me with the mentor matching, and then we'll essentially match mentors with different teams, just like you see right there. So essentially what we do is we verify mutual interest, we'll schedule a meeting. During the first meeting, we'll talk all about what's going on with the teams. We'll try to set up your fall scheduled meetings, because one of the things we found is scheduling all the meetings ahead of time is very helpful, as opposed to scheduling one meeting every month for the next one, because then your schedule's kind of wide open. And the team's responsibility is actually up to the team to keep in touch with the mentors after that, to schedule those meetings, to send out agendas, to send out meeting notes, etc. And I'll attend as many monthly meetings as I can, so I ask that the teams always kind of copy me in. Sometimes I'm able to get to many of them depending on their time, sometimes I'm not. So, but once all that happens, everything works like a fine-oiled machine, as you can see up above. We have different teams, different mentors working together. Any questions? And one of the things we're going to do tonight is, when we have questioning and answer time, we're also going to try to pass around the microphones so we can get everything recorded as well. All right.
The gears are crashing on the farm.
Oops, listen. Anyway, all right, well, thank you. So with that, this is our QR code. We have a Linktree. Linktree is a social media aggregator which has all our stuff. If anybody's interested, you can grab your cell phone and you can get that. We'll also hand out some cards later on with our QR code on it as well. Are there any questions? All right, so having said that, now we're going to start with our first team presentation tonight, EDUX. And this is the list. We have two teams right now. I'm just going to get your presentation ready. Oh, tab. PowerPoint's not. Sorry, PowerPoint's not cooperating.
Yeah. Voice recognition.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Together your conversation.
Thank you. Hey, I'm organized. Okay. So you're going to have to use the mouse?
Okay. Another one.
Yeah.
It's been another solution that's directly competitive speech. Okay. Yeah, it just makes it easier. Oh, really? My clock's been called off when I have these problems.
See, we got some problem working together. That's why, I understand different places. Sometimes I'm not sure. But, all right, so this person, I think he's were icon on his desktop.
Sorry. All right. It should. Yep, we got it. If you want to use it, if you want to walk around.
Okay. Kev does our best.
Okay.
Well, thanks everyone. Thanks for coming. Most importantly, the advisors. I'm going to take a minute to thank everyone for coming down. My team is EDUX. Unfortunately, my co-founders and my co-founders couldn't join, post 4th of July weekend. They're all flying back. But I wanted to start with the team. I think the most important thing about any startup, any company, is the team. The 3 co-founders and I are all PhD candidates, thankfully at UMass Lowell now and UMass Boston. And the other 3 devs that we have on our team are WPI computer science students. Really technical team. I think it's really important to highlight any team, when discussing a startup, most importantly. EDUX page and our platform page, we currently have a website that students or any advisors can go onto to look at any of our documentation. We're fully transparent about how we do our protocols, how we have our security protocols in place. And students currently create their accounts on demo.edux.ai. So what is EDUX? So the biggest problem that universities currently have at the moment is course scheduling. Any student, I imagine everyone in this room has been a college student at one point. Everyone had to deal with course scheduling. Scheduling their classes, making sure that what courses they're taking next semester and what courses they're taking now aligns with graduating at any specific time or when they're planning to graduate. Statistically, when you're looking at UMass Lowell or what we're churning out, the United States has lost their competitiveness in this global education sector. We're churning less employees every year. Every year, the average rate that students are graduating is 5 to 6 years. They're entering at UMass Lowell, they're anticipating to graduate in 4 years, and something goes wrong. And so this is what we built our platform for. We are Massachusetts students, born and raised here, and we built this platform as students, and we built it for students. So our value proposition. I really wish I could play this video, but I'm not going to play it because of technical difficulties. We currently have this platform that current high school students in Massachusetts, UMass Lowell, and UMass Boston students are currently using. They upload their degree on it. If they're UMass students or if they're WPI students, wherever they're attending college, they upload their current degree on it, what courses they've taken, what credits they have, and we return, this is the best plan, this is the best degree pathway for you moving forward, for you to graduate on time. We guarantee this for all students, and this is what we're transparent about. We work with universities like University of Massachusetts Lowell, Boston, WPI, community colleges. We're beginning to partner up with high schools like TECA, online high schools, Massachusetts high schools, to make sure that students as early as high school can start, and students as late as junior year can finish on time. So our customers. We currently work with universities, like I mentioned. We really partner up with them to make sure that we review their documentation, they review our security protocols, and we have everything aligned to their standards. We protect all student data, protected by FERPA. This is what we're bullish about, this is what we're transparent about. And so we survey students, we worked with current pilot programs that UMass Lowell had, this summer, and so far we've had success. Chancellor Julie Chen and Joe Hartman liked it. Other universities liked how we were doing it, and we were super happy with the results. Other customers, other companies that we've partnered up with, big institutions, big companies or College Board. Campus is a relatively new startup that has really boomed within the last year, and we start even as early as high school with online high schools, homeschooling high schools, to get students to graduate, to really consider their credits. So revenue, I think everyone here is asking, how do I make money? How does EDUX make money? And we currently work with these universities. We currently have to date raised $55,000 across various incubators and accelerators. But we have premium subscriptions that students can pay for premium features. And we have enterprise. So UMass Lowell is testing this out with their CCA effort. And so we partnered up with DigitalOcean, we partnered up with Amazon, AWS, and NVIDIA's Inception program. So thankfully from their help, we raised $55,000 to date. Next step, really what we're waiting on is some executive leadership decisions to churn a lot of letter of supports to be a lot more bullish and scale where we currently have. A lot of advisors can't currently recommend it. We've reached out to directors at UMass Lowell. We reached out to Julie Chen and Joe Hartman with correcting the feedback that they gave us to make sure that we have everything that they're looking for so that we can move forward.
All right, now we have a 5-minute question and answer, and Alexa's going to be passing around the microphone for any questions.
Might be able to hear me anyway. Quick question.
Yes.
Have you got support from the schools or universities to help pay for this?
Not currently. We've actually been extremely transparent about this, and we've actually taken that initiative to bootstrap that fund. The funding that we've raised from various different accelerators and incubators. We've used that funding to prove these metrics to showcase executive leadership. This works, students are graduating on time, and the trajectory shows students are graduating in 4 years or less. So we're solving that issue that they have, and we anticipated that they wouldn't pay for this up front. We wanted to prove that data, we wanted to prove those metrics to UMass, executive leadership beforehand.
Okay.
Great question.
Good.
Any other questions? Awesome. If you could speak into the microphone, because not everyone, I think my voice projects, but not all of it.
So granted, you're at a proof of concept stage, but once you go into real production, will you have significant expenses with your technology, your infrastructure, licensing, AI?
So currently, students are currently using this across 13 different high schools, 7 universities. We're housing about 13,000 users. And so the hardware infrastructure that really costs us is maybe about $1,000, covering a lot of the security protocols and a lot of the verification that universities are looking for. And so that's really covering, that's a hefty cost, but considering the metrics that we're trying to prove to universities, we wanted to bootstrap those funds and really wanted to prove it to them. I imagine that as we scale more, and as large language models get better, and a lot more students are churning, that cost is definitely going to come up, and we're going to have to negotiate with the universities, with the high schools to sort of mitigate a lot of our costs. Steve.
Thanks, and congratulations on the progress you've made so far. It's exciting. Could you talk a little bit about how you're going to monetize this, right?
Yes.
Because in every pitch you've talked about the 5 and 6 year graduation rate. I'll be honest, that's not always a big concern because there are different reasons a student, it's not just scheduling, like if they have to work part-time, if they have a family, or there's lots of reasons why students don't finish in 4 years. And it also varies based on the school. In Ivy League, you expect a 4 year. At state, where you're a different economic strata, it doesn't necessarily happen at that time. So that value proposition doesn't always ring true depending on who you're talking to.
Right.
So what are your thoughts about how to monetize this?
So I wanted to address the first part about accommodations.
Yep.
So we have a lot of students who are veterans, who are on active duty. We have students, and I think one of the audience members that brought this up to me, we have students who have certain disabilities, who are dyslexic. They need these accommodations. In terms of monetization though, the way that a student enters into a university is they're really only focused on what the host university offers them. And that's really how they're thinking about certain things. What we've done in terms of monetization is we've proven this though too, is students have a breadth of scope in terms of what they can take in terms of a specific course or various different courses. In terms of monetization, universities are paying to have their class rank above other university classes. A university is really bullish on getting as many students in their university, and they want to do any means necessary to get their classes to rank above others. And so UMass, I think North Shore was the first one to pay for some of their composition courses to rank above Bunker Hill and some of the other universities.
Really?
So that's what they're paying for behind the scenes that a lot of advisors are not aware of. There's other monetization means, but these are really enterprise-related monetizations.
This will be quick.
Okay.
Yeah. So for the course selection process that and the course planning process of your app, do you ever have have you considered including a feature where you help students select their college based on costs or based on the career plan they've offered?
So all the substitutions that a student can choose from. So there's fidelity on the platform where a student looks at a table of courses that they're planning to take, and they have the fidelity to move courses around. They can switch courses around. Pricing of that course, we list the approval, the agreement that UMass has with that specific university or where that's approved. We don't do that due diligence for students specific to what their concentration might be or what their major might be, but we've given them what they're looking for, and we're certainly, would be open to that.
Next team is next gen testing.
My project is next-gen testing. The point of next-gen testing is to pioneer an at-home testing kit that you can use to test for PFAS in drinking water, and it would be significantly cheaper than the other solutions available to you at this point in time, which is spending hundreds of dollars on each and every single lab test. And the award I won is commitment to a sustainable environment. Our value proposition is pretty simple. It's comprised of a few main components, mostly that it's significantly cheaper than the current solutions available at market, and it's significantly faster. You buy the test, you follow simple instructions, 5 minutes later you have your results. Whereas with the lab test, you need to order them, take your sample, send it in, wait a few weeks, and then receive your results, and that's it. Your $300 is gone. You have nothing to show for it. Whereas my tests are reusable. You spend anywhere from $100 to $150. You get it, you use it in a few minutes, and the only part that you need to rebuy is a $2 piece of plastic. Other than that, they're reusable. So you save a lot of money on each next test. Our customers and users, at first I was thinking this is like any household in the US, but that's unrealistic. You're never going to get anywhere near that much, and I identified that I should pick a target market before starting anything. And the best market I found where this would be most applicable to is people with wells, people who rely on well water for their house, because they're alone. They can't rely on anyone to test their well water. Whereas people here, let's say you go, okay, well I have tap water, I trust my municipality, my government to clean my water, like I'm good. But whereas the well water, it's all on you, and you need to do certain tests. PFAS tests aren't required legally for wells, but there's lots of tests that are. And this would be a great target to market because they are self-reliant. Their water is their problem, like no one else. They don't have anyone to clean their water for them, and they spend $2,000 to $5,000 annually on wells, purification testing, all that type of stuff. Revenue, a majority of my clients, I believe, will be one-time sales, like you bought it, you see it, and you either, it's a good result and you forget about it, or it's a bad result and you're forced to do something about it. So that's why I think it's essential that I diversify, like pivot to other aspects as well, everything around that, specifically for the well owners. I could branch off into different segments that they would be also in order to get the most money out of each customer, because customer acquisition costs are generally pretty big expense, and it would be wasted if they only bought one thing from me. And in order to like rope them in, I'm thinking some forum that they have premium access to, where they can talk to each other, ask questions about not only PFAS and our system, but also other related issues, see news, different products that we're developing, all that stuff. And the main next steps I need are testing and calibration of the spectrometers. I need access to the prize funds to do it because they're quite expensive. And then the next big thing is going through a prototype and trying to make it as cheap as possible, going through each and every part and trying to find a cheaper, easier way to do it because that is the biggest expense for me. This simplifying spectroscopy is not easy, and right now it's a pretty expensive process. So going through piece by piece and cutting costs wherever possible be the natural next step. And then I need to find companies I can outsource this production to, and it should be, from there it'll just be marketing and posting it, starting marketing, which will be, all right, time is up, so I'll take questions now.
So the question I have is, you mentioned that people with wells, and I happen to be one of them, have these filtration systems and so forth that they're spending money on year after year. Is it a known problem that PFAS are getting through those filtration systems?
Well, it depends on the filtration systems that you have. 'Cause like most regular filtration systems, PFAS will just go straight through it. It's not that big of a known problem currently because just not a lot of people, it doesn't grab a lot of people's attention, but it is being more and more in the news. PFAS this, people that, PFAS that, and it is a growing issue that's spreading. As far as you can filter it out with reverse osmosis filters, that's not practical on a very large scale.
I'll just ask a question. What, in terms of the result that the consumer would have, what does it look like? Because again, I'm talking to the marketing aspect of this. A homeowner with a well, this needs to be simple for them to translate. What does this result look like so that they know that there are next steps? Or are you thinking about also helping them with what are the next steps if they have a poor result?
Yeah, so the EPA is mandating in drinking water a limit of 4 parts per trillion, PPT. So it'll just very simply explain that, like in the instruction, just have a few minutes about it and say, and it'll just have like a little LCD screen that says the amount that it finds. Let's say it finds 28 parts per trillion. It'll like have a red light and say 28 PPT. Our website will have next steps on it. And I was thinking I could get commission sales off of that. Like let's say there's companies working on remediation or selling reverse osmosis kits or whatever, and I have their information with the code on the packaging somewhere on my website, and if they use that, I get a certain whatever commission just to try to maximize what I get from each customer. But eventually I do want to branch off into being able to do that as well. This is just like the natural starting point, but once I get it going, that's where I see it segmenting off to.
Over there and then that next.
So what is your current cost to manufacture for your prototype where you're trying to cut costs where you are right now?
Yeah, so currently it's about $1,000, but that's with the advanced spectroscopy device that's like this big, and it's without using the part that I patented, which is the impurity concentrator, which concentrates the amount of PFAS in the sample using reverse osmosis filter, and it concentrates it a certain known amount that it knows, and it artificially like boosts the concentration by, let's say, 20 times, and then you take that, and instead of, let's say it was 4 PPT in the water, now it's 80 PPT, and it's significantly easier to find that way, so you can get a much simpler spectrometer. So that's what I'm kind of working on, like simplifying this spectrometer to be able to use it, apply it to a simpler thing where it doesn't need to be quite as sensitive because I'm concentrating the samples.
So you're only looking for PFAS?
As of right now, yeah.
Because I have a well, and I get my water checked every 15 years. If I was going to get it tested, I want to learn about more than just PFAS. How do you say it? PFAS?
Yeah.
That's fine.
I mean, thinking about, other things that are in the water that people are concerned about, because I think if you can combine that, there's going to be a lot more people ready to
Yeah, so there's like obvious directions to diversify, but PFAS just seemed like a really good place to start as there's more and more light is being shed to it, and current PFAS testing is really expensive. Or for example, it wouldn't make sense to develop something that could test for something really simple to find. There's a bunch of contaminants in water where you just buy like a $1 strip from Home Depot and you dip it in the water, and based on the color that the square turns, you can see that like there's no point in going after that. So PFAS, because of the price, seemed like a good place to start. But yeah, I do plan on diversifying.
Thank you, Mr. Cyrus. That next team is Ravi. This is what next
Hello everyone, my name is Sriram Krishnamurthy.
And I am Jacob Breen.
And our product is Ravi, robotic assistant for the visually impaired.
Yeah. So Ravi is a new robotic aid for the visually impaired with the intention of allowing safer and more secure navigation both indoors and outdoors. So far, we have completed early prototyping and have a small amount of advertising within the university. So you can actually see our article here. If you're curious, you can look it up later. We are able to continue this project with the support from DifferenceMaker, which was a $2,000 grant. The sensors that the SICK sensor company has provided us, as well as the Riverhawk Robotics Club, which has provided us money, as well as their invaluable time developing this product.
So here's a summary of all the features of Ravi. Its features, thank you. Its features include its sensors mounted on all sides for a 360-degree view, its tank treads that enable travel on all kinds of surfaces, rough and slanted, and it is rechargeable and comes with a user-friendly app that allows the robot to adjust its movement according to the user. And it is cloud-based, so it lets the users know it lets loved ones know of the user's safety. We also designed it with adaptability in that it is lightweight and low cost. It weighs approximately 15 pounds, and we ensured that the robot was designed strictly based on with commercially available low-cost parts, so we can keep the overall system price low. In addition, we took affordability. We took affordability into account because of the low-cost part, and because of this, we think that businesses will be able to use and purchase multiple units of our service, so that they can use this as an in-house service for public buildings or for private businesses. Kind of like how those motorized grocery carts at multiple grocery stores like Walmart enable physically impaired customers to get around the store and shop whatever they need very quickly. And what we're working on right now is implementing the next stage prototype, as Jacob stated, to include the sensor functionality to account for object avoidance and detection.
Yeah, so far we've split our customer base into 3 different groups. First, we have individuals which benefit from our robot because of the extended mobility that they're actually provided from the robot, as well as independence, being able to travel by themselves without a partner or a different device or a dog. Notification of different aspects of their environment is one of the biggest things about our product. It is really helpful and individuals find it to be really useful. And there's a really low learning curve as opposed to other provided aids that are out there already. While we don't know what individuals would be willing to pay for this product just yet, we still need a little bit more talking with individuals. We do know that they would be preferred to pay that over a leasing period. We also have medical care facilities which benefit from all of the things we've said above, as well as maneuverability in their facilities, as well as notification of different emergency situations. We know that they'd be willing to pay upwards of $10,000 to $15,000 per unit, and that can be paid out through leasing or through a one-time payment. We also know that commercial businesses would be willing to pay to use this product, again, for all of the things above, as well as to expand their customer base and for an automated touring system that we can add into the robot, very specialized for their building. And they'd be willing to pay upwards, of $20,000 or under for that over a leasing or a one-time purchase.
So we spoke to 13 different customers over the camp, 10 of which were patients at our blind facilities that we partnered with, and 2 of which were business owners, one of which was the owner of a startup, another which operated a single-story building with labs. So we talked to the blind patient, we talked to the visually impaired patients through study groups where we hosted where we brought our robot and demonstrated and evaluated the performance of the robot. And because of the study groups, we're able to improve our design to account for the mobility, adjust the mobility to the user's needs. And the general consensus from the interviews were that privacy was a little bit of a concern, and that monthly leasing would be an appealing venture.
It looks like I only have 5 seconds, so I'm not going to delve too deep into this, but it's about done. So, are there any questions?
How does the device communicate with the visually impaired person to provide the services? And you mentioned an app. How does a visually impaired person utilize the app?
So the app is actually used for the loved ones of the visually impaired. It's meant to be able to track where the person who's using the device is and be able to actually see its environment. This is important for us because safety is our #1 concern, and if at any point the person with the visual impairments, especially the fact that people with visual impairments are older individuals, were to fall or were to have been, attacked or something, we'd actually be able to see that, and they would get a notification on the app or the website. So you can actually see the surroundings of the person. Now, as to your question about how they would be able to actually communicate with the robot, we're planning on making a small wearable device that has a microphone on it. And then in this, you can press a button and say commands to the robot. We also intend to have it be able to connect to Bluetooth headphones or hearing aids to be able to actually communicate to the user in crowded, loud spaces.
Thank you guys, congratulations on your progress with this. I have a couple of questions. One, so do you see this as a replacement for a walking stick cane or a seeing eye dog?
So we don't. That's a great question. This is intended to this actually has a walking cane capability factored into it, where users can put in their walking cane. Originally, we decided to have users put in their walking cane and then use that to move them, and then the robot would move along with it. Of course, from our study groups, we did adjust our design to actually have a flag for cars and for pedestrians, for anybody outside to know of the robot and its motion and its mobility. And this isn't exactly meant to be a replacement for a seeing eye dog, because there's the emotional aspect of users that users need. But we just want to ensure that not only will users visually impaired people be able to travel safely and securely, but that loved ones will be able to know of their conditions at all times, so that will be able to know the conditions at all times, and that the robot will be able to move safely with the user.
So the reason I was asking that was thinking in terms of a price point for your product. So seeing a cane costs $100, $80. Training and developing and growing and introducing iDog is a lot more expensive. So as you think about how you position this, you have to think a little bit about what is the niche we're filling, and what is the value proposition right now, and how do you fit in? The other thing, going back to your question about how do people communicate, so you could build in your own Bluetooth and your own communications and such, or my guess is most people do have a smartphone. Most people with visual impairments probably do. It's adaptive, probably an adaptive phone. If you take a play card from Invisiware, right, they're interfacing with the smartphone. And so they were, in that situation, they ended up having to do app development, but they didn't have to do circuit board development. So just something to think about.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, our competitors do actually have that. Features similar to what you were describing, like iPhone, Androids. They do have features in their apps for visually impaired, like sound cues for the visually impaired, and there are also other apps offered by blind facilities that do so. So we want to be able to combine all those features, but also have a tangible product to increase demand to allow these individuals to enjoy the area and boost demand for going to public areas, as well as expand the customer base. So thank you.
Several years ago, I remember there was an app that crowdsourced visual assistance using cell phones. It sounds like you have the technology here that you could allow volunteers to be able to assist with, where is that, or, that sort of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. That is actually one of the things we're looking towards in the future, to integrate ourselves with apps that are already existing for people with visual impairments. Since we're still in prototyping and we're just coming out of early prototyping, we've created something, we proved that the idea works. We're going into more sophisticated prototyping. Our intent is to talk with those companies and try to partner up with them. Hey, we have a product for the visually impaired. You have a product for the visually impaired. Why aren't we working together? And that's our intent. Absolutely.
We're just about out, so we'll do the best you can.
Do you have any rough ideas on how much it's going to cost you per unit?
Currently, the robot costs under $7,000. We're hoping that we can keep it under $7,000, as well as when it starts actually manufacturing, it's going to be a lot cheaper to produce it. So we're, like I said, hoping under $7,000, and that's our goal.
Thank you. Next team is Silver Solutions.
Hello, thank you guys all for coming. My name is John Acroza.
Zach Richard.
And we are Silver Solutions.
All right, so we are a unique app using many different forms of activities and features to connect with the user and make it a variety and more personalized experience. We have many different things, such as an activity button. So let's say I'm a drug addict and John is my lifeline. I put his phone number into the phone, and when I do feel a relapse, I press it, and he'd get a text, personalize it, say, like, your lifeline Zach has pressed the button. I've given him this activity for this long, and you should check up on him as soon as possible. We also have community features like Gig Yak and Facebook kind of combined. We focus on anonymous usage until the user is like ready to kind of be not anonymous. And
Okay, so our value, our solution holds, is our main theme of personalization. This consists of many different personalized activities, just as Zach presented. We have like a lifeline feature. We're trying to integrate personalized AI for the user. and different forms of sobriety tracking and user customization. And so compared to some other solutions, so compared to like things like rehab centers and different forms of therapists, we have like 24/7 response. So obviously with online therapy, you always have it's always available to respond. But people can't always take time out of their day to go into rehab centers or go to a therapist. So we provide, obviously, as an online therapy, you get access whenever you need. Just like going over that with ease of access. Like Zach said before, we have an anonymous built-in social platform, so other users can share their experiences with others and learn from one another.
So our customers will obviously be people with substance abuse issues. Right now we're trying to focus on some of the main ones that we've encountered, because while there are many different forms of substance abuse and addictions, we're trying to localize the main ones, so we're not doing too much for our initial launch. It's mostly college students. Those are our biggest demographic, 18 to 24. It's a pretty bit even split between males and females, but we find it's more 51% to 49%. We did a few anonymous surveys on college students to find addiction data. Most of our data consisted of the online research, but when we did do the surveys, pretty much everybody wanted to remain anonymous. So something that we did find is that anonymous is something that people want. They don't want to really have to figure that out. And we've also summarized our data through online research surveys. We found that nicotine, alcohol, and marijuana are the three big. And this led us to wanting to start with these major addictions and then branch out towards others, as I mentioned before. Our main users will be the recovering addicts who need personalization and a platform of recovery to access. And it's a very broad target market with numbers in the high millions. Other users would consist of people using sober solutions as a lifeline. So that would be like if I went to AA and we would, my mentor would tell me, oh, you should try and get this. It would make our communication and our experience going through AA way easier. It's just a way to connect those people.
All right, so revenue is pretty simple. How will we make money through our revenue streams? We're focusing mainly on targeted ads. So just truth.com, therapy websites, in and outpatient treatment centers. And we also are working on, so right now the app is based off a freemium version, but we want to expand that into a premium paid version. So that's another form of revenue stream we'll be aiming through. And how we remain sustainable? So obviously our premium version will be a monthly subscription, and obviously new current updates to our premium version of the app.
All right, so for our next steps, definitely finding more people to interview of different varieties too, because of the people we've interviewed, we've noticed a large difference between like all their answers. There's been kind of a trend with some of the main things, but there's very big differences in how they deal with their addiction, how they want to deal with it. Starting to find people/tools to help us begin research is definitely a big one for us. Since we are both marketing majors or business majors, we do not have the research capabilities, so we definitely need to find those people. And what we need help and guidance with. Yeah. Any questions?
What do you need help with?
Research is like our biggest thing that we're going to need help with, and building a form of community. So we want to make we kind of want to make, before we start our launch, we're going to make a big social platform and a big community for our app, just so we can get more improvements from users and people who want to use the app, their ideas on what they would like with the app, so we can personalize it as much as possible.
So the question I have is around the anonymity aspect. So you talked about creating a community could present challenges with the anonymity part of it, right? So have you considered the use of AI? Right, so for people who haven't been to AA, for example, right, we know exactly AI, could you use this in place potentially of going to AA so you could really keep that anonymity and use AI as that sober partner?
Right, so we do have implications of AI in our app, which Johnny can explain, but we do kind of want to have it be sort of a tool, not a replacement of AA. So it would kind of be like we'd work along with it, we'd collab with it, seeming as we kind of do want them to be a potential revenue stream.
I got the mic. So how are you planning to deliver the therapy? I mean, is it just to a buddy that somebody picks, or are you actually going to try to deliver therapy? And have you considered all of the risks around that? Like if somebody's in crisis, usually if you're in crisis, they say call 911. I'm curious to hear how you're handling the therapy part.
Yeah, so for our lifeline ability, you can appoint anyone you want. So most of the time when someone's going through a major relapse or something, usually they have one close family member or friend that knows about their problem and that's trying to help them through. So you can appoint someone, your lifeline, to that person that can help you. If not, we're also planning on setting up a form of 24-hour hotline system for lifelines that we can appoint for you. Is that the answer to your question you're looking for?
Yeah, pretty much. It gets dicey when if you wanted to have AI provide a response, or if you're asking people to believe in an app when they're really truly in crisis versus getting them qualified medical attention, basically.
Yeah, so our AI platform, I don't know if we explained it too well because we didn't have too much time. But it's not like too much built into the lifeline feature. It's kind of more of a different activity feature that help you with what you can do. Because as you can interact with it, it will learn more from the user, because that's what AI does. It learns from the user's response and builds its responses off that. So it learns more from the user and tell it what it learns, what helps the user. And that's kind of like a different separate platform from than just the exact lifeline feature. But also therapy, we want to put most of our first priority with our money would be to put most of it into research and how we can actually help people and learn how to treat this form of addiction.
I have a couple. So yeah, first of all, how do you plan to manage liability if somebody believes that the service they paid for is not effective in their rehabilitation?
Lawyers.
No, we're going to try and make sure that we're not liable for anything that happens in that manner.
Okay, also, how do you plan to stay profitable if you are running off of targeted ads, but also promising anonymity when targeted ads are by nature not anonymous?
Well, these said targeted ads would be like Truth.com. They'd be hand-picked ads to help the addiction recover. It's not going to be like Wingstop ads. That's what we mean by targeted ads.
The anonymity version of the app is we're creating a social platform in the app, which is completely anonymous, kind of like GameGack or something, where just users can connect with one another and share their experiences.
And then, what features would your premium version have to encourage people to actually spend money on it?
That'd be stuff like more app personalization. Just one of the features that we want to have would be to have personalized pictures, lifelines to write motivational quotes and stuff for you. It's more to personalize and just make your substance abuse recovery just more easy and fun as
I know
possible.
it sounds like a lot of little things, but doing research, a lot of the little things are usually the biggest things that build up and help on the recovery.
Yeah, it builds a sense of comfort that kind of makes it more.
So just, you mentioned tobacco addiction, alcohol addiction, marijuana addiction. Those are different, there's differences there, right? So I just wonder, as you think about getting a product out the door, would it make sense to focus on one and then hit that market?
So for right now, what we want to do is we want to focus on the bigger addictions so we can branch out into more. Obviously, we want to grow into different forms of addictions like gambling and such as well. But we're trying to start off with substance abuse. That's why we want to put most of our research into how to solve, how to treat those addictions. But we would also, at the start of your app, we would set it up and it would ask you, because you can customize what addiction you're facing, so the app would treat you for that certain addiction.
I guess to just summarize, it's we want to get 3 big ones that do have differences, because the end goal would be to have multiple different ones.
Next team is SparkCell Technologies.
everybody for coming out here tonight. Special thank you to the DifferenceMaker Institute, it makes this possible. And, did Brian leave?
He did.
Well, Brian, if you're seeing this online, I want to extend a further thanks to you for putting this together, especially for my award that you bestowed on to me this spring. My name is Dr. Landis. I'm a master's student here at the university, specializing in mechanical engineering and plasma spectroscopy techniques. With that experience, I developed a tool called SparkCell. It's a handheld concrete testing tool that uses elemental analysis in order to assess the degradation due to chlorides and other contaminants such as pyrrhotite, using a sister technology, with the intent of assessing accelerated corrosion and providing municipalities the ability to apply for rebuilding and new infrastructure money. I won the campus-wide DifferenceMaker award last spring. My value proposition that I have is that this is an excellent alternative to existing testing methods, which currently consist of yanking a 3-inch diameter core out of a bridge. Once you've drilled it out, you then have to mechanically press it at an off-site location. This test costs around $5,000 a piece, and you can only do it in a few specific locations on a bridge, because in addition to being super expensive, you also have to deal with the extra surface area you're creating, which will only add to the corrosion process. So this is a field portable technique that can give you a result of the kind of corrosive materials that are especially prevalent in coastal and northern regions that are susceptible to sea spray contamination and road salt contamination. Some of my key customers that I found were those who are already doing testing for municipalities. They usually come from companies such as FINA Engineering and Testing, which is one of my collaborators, and other people in private industry who are doing these kinds of tests are PPI consultants who are either doing a consultation for somebody buying a property who's invested in the condition of it, say somebody buying a property as a landlord, or people who are buying units as new home buyers or second home buyers. Though it's a lot less common nowadays because people are usually interested in just buying a home as fast as possible. But there's a huge liability involved because it costs $150,000 all the way to $250,000 to put a new foundation in. So I provide a tool that can be used on site that can let you test out a structure in a fraction of the time that conventional testing methods do, including in field techniques such as electric testing, which takes around 6 hours in order to get a result in the end. I plan on collecting revenue from this kind of business from selling equipment to testing facilities, either through public works projects, people consulting with public works, or private companies in the business of PPI. They can also lease this technology as new developments will be made to things like the spectrometer and the machine learning techniques that I'm using in order to help sort out the spectrum. Some of the next steps that I have to go through consist of getting some intellectual property protection for the device. This is one of the things that I learned through taking the DifferenceMaker Bootcamp course this summer. And in addition to that, I also learned a lot more about the different types of markets that I can come into. For example, Brian Rist famously is making doors to help homes from getting flooded with water during tropical storms. When these tropical storms take over a specific home, they can actually destroy the foundation, but not immediately. The corrosion will oxidize and crack and destroy the foundation over the course of years, something that you may not see for a while. Once spalling happens, the foundation's already destroyed. So I'd love to be able to use this as a deployable technique for places that are impacted by a tropical storm such as this. Questions? Yes.
Real quick one. So the core samples that are done are taking a fairly in-depth sample.
Yes.
How deep of a sample can you take with your device?
So concrete has rebar, which is the part that I'm worried about getting oxidized, about 75 millimeters away from the what we call the cover or the face of the concrete. So my idea is to do 3 separate quarter-inch diameter drilling techniques where I'm collecting sample material from each of those depths in order to try to get an idea of how close I am to the rebar, and at what point I start seeing salt, and if it's really bad, at what point I start seeing iron show up. Yes?
At the beginning of your presentation, you talked a lot about technology.
Yes.
All right. My question is it manufacturable, repeatable? Have you gotten that far yet?
Yeah, so this is, you can see in the diagram here, this is a spectrometer that I've actually designed to be milled out of aluminum. I've, for my own intellectual property's sake, I've messed with the angles on the components a little bit, but this is something that's very manufacturable. This is called a crossed Zerny-Turner spectrometer. I've actually designed these before for previous projects. There's a company that I used to work for called Sciaps Inc. This is their bread and butter, except instead of using a Spark OES sampling system, they're using a laser-based sampling system that's extremely expensive. They're also going after a completely different target market. So yes, this is something that's not only possible, but it's already in industry. But nobody is doing it in this form factor.
You mentioned your partnership, and you've got it up there, something you need to strengthen. What's the nature of that partnership? Is this a company that would manufacture or distribute, or what exactly?
So Vina Engineering and Testing is they are a testing company that works with municipalities. They take core samples and then collect data on the mechanical properties of concrete that they bring in, but they also run it through a more expensive piece of machinery called an ICP-MS, or to shorten, it's a mass spectrometer that can get an idea of what kind of contaminants may have come into the bridge. Since you already have a core, it's a lot easier to break this up and throw it into an ionizing chamber. But my goal is to take those mechanically tested samples and build a covariance matrix or a correlation matrix that aligns with the ratios of specific target elements like calcium, sodium, calcium chloride radicals, which are visible in this kind of spectra, and also iron. So strengthening that relationship involves getting involved in higher levels of R&D and people in applied testing techniques. Currently, I'm working with one of their testers to pick up a course that fell off the truck. And he just picked up a new job, so I'd like to establish a formal relationship. Start somewhere.
Can I ask a follow-up?
Yeah.
So, I'll speak up. At the beginning of the presentation, it sounded like you were anti-core taking, and now I'm hearing that you want to use those cores with your spectrometer.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so you're not solving the problem of taking cores.
No. I apologize. So in order to build a covariance matrix on linking the mechanical properties to the contaminant species, so that in the field I can use contaminant species as a correlative technique, I need to build a database from somewhere. And having the cores already is extremely helpful, especially if they're already crushed. They're useless. So they're either going to pay someone to get rid of it, or I'll pay them to take them.
Okay. So long run though, you're not going to propose taking cores with the technology?
No, that would take too much time.
Got it.
With this, you could test several bridges in a day, whereas those usually take a few cores, bring them back to the lab. Usually take like 2 or 3 cores a day, but you still have to go back and have somebody else go crush those and test them. But this, you could test dozens in a day.
Our next team is Turtle Tours.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Trevor Landran, and I am here representing Turtle Tours. So, Turtle Tours is a robotic tour guide designed to be added to the existing tourism industry to give tours of various facilities, or in some cases act as a bellhop, depending on what part of the industry it is working in. And the main problem that Turtle Tours is trying to solve is eliminating those wait times or delays or unsatisfactory responses on the customer service side of these businesses. So you can see in this slide, you got a picture of the actual Turtle Tours robot. It's also out in the hallway. You can check it out on your way up. The award we won was the Fan Favorite Award. So for our value proposition, we kind of split it up into two ways. We did competitor analysis directly, and then we also looked at what value we are bringing in contrast. So for our competitors, we have outlined a few different robots that are out there, like Spot from Boston Dynamics. And we found that those robots, they're generally hardware-wise overcomplicated for the task, especially Spot. Which is a quadrupedal robot, which means 4 legs, which is completely non-necessary for a tour guide application, but it definitely for other applications can be optimal. We also found there were other competitors like Servi that just did not have the software capabilities that our product has. So for our specific value, we have pre-planned tour maps that can be optimized for different routes to make the tours as optimal as possible. We have an API built into it that allows for direct communication between the tourists and the robot. We also have, with that API, it can give tours directly and give fairly human-like responses. That is still being fine-tuned. And we can also operate elevators with the robot or do other tasks using a robotic arm. So for our customer segments, there are 2 main segments. One is universities and museums, and then the other one is small businesses in the tourism industry or hotels and chain businesses. So starting out, we're looking at the museums and universities because they're more willing to kind of allow for beta testing of the product as we're still currently developing the hardware and getting everything to work together. For sustainability, our plan is to keep the project going through research initiatives, maybe some university capstones where we let new students come onto the project and design different parts of the robot. We're specifically looking at our drivetrain as something that could be redesigned to minimize costs. We are also looking into various sales channels, including online sales or phone sales, potentially free trial offers where they get to try it for a period of time, and then if they like it, they get to keep it. And then also some direct-to-consumer options, which we were exploring with some of our university partners, like the University of Massachusetts Lowell. So next steps, we want to continue improving the design, doing some capstones and other research initiatives. And we also want to continue kind of researching the market, making sure we're gauging the right market for the product as we continue moving towards full time. So I do have a demo video of the API so you can actually hear what it sounds like. I don't know if it's going to play though. Let's see. I guess not. Okay. Well, if it played, it would have asked a few questions, told you a little bit about the university. If you're interested in seeing the video, I can definitely pull it up on an external device after the rest of the presentations. Thank you, and I will take any questions here.
So you mentioned that you'd be able to communicate from the robot to the
Yes.
attendee, or so what kind of communication? Can you actually ask it questions about specific things that it's trying to tell you about?
Yes. So
how does
it,
all that
yep.
work?
So the way it works is the robot has a microphone-based interface, so it can listen to surrounding conversations. And what happens is you'll ask the robot whatever you want to know about, and it will give you a customized response based on all the information it has, which is cloud-based, and do its best to answer the question. Kind of like a tour guide would for tourists.
Question or comment, what is your price point?
So currently, the price per unit is about $600 to $800. We are hoping to get that down to between $300 and $600 through continued research and simplifying some of the complicated hardware.
Is that price or cost?
That is the...
The price or the cost to make it?
That's the cost to make.
Okay.
The selling price, we would be selling it in two ways. One is the direct hardware, and one is the API side of it, which would be a monthly payment, because you would have to continue paying for space for your information.
Then just another question, you mentioned tour guide. Have you considered large hospital campuses?
Yes.
As a potential target market?
Yes, we have considered that. We've actually talked with our sister team, Ravi, about that. And we are definitely interested in expanding to large hospitals and other larger facilities.
Brother team,
Real quick one. Did you get feedback from potential tourists about using a robot? Have you tested
Yes.
feedback to say that they prefer that over a human interaction?
Yes, so we have gotten feedback from prospective tourists in two ways, through direct interviews and then also through direct testing of our system. So we've interviewed about 70 prospective tourists, and in general, we found that they do really like the robot responses, and they find that if the robot is able to give them a fairly satisfactory response, we had to do some fine-tuning, but we found that they have been very receptive to having a robot give them tours and having to talk to a robot, which has been fantastic.
Very good. Good job.
Do you anticipate the selling price to correlate to how long it will take to train the robot for a certain area?
So that's a good point. For training, we expect that after, say, you buy the hardware, you would run it around your facility for 24 hours and it would make a map, or multiple maps, depending on how big your facility is. And once it has those maps, it would save them in a database and use the software that it currently has to identify locations and change between maps as needed.
Is this something that can be adapted for outdoor historical tours,
Yes.
walking tours?
That is actually one thing that we are looking into doing, is adapting it for those guided tours. Because we can use cameras to identify specific locations, we can have the robot use that and correlate it with existing maps that it has, indoors or outdoors. So we're excited to continue testing that.
I'm wondering what you feel is the main benefit of having the robot as opposed to just the software and say a user carried location aware device.
So we found through our interview process that the robot makes it seem a little bit more human and a little less threatening. As in comparison to having just an AI-based model. And that was kind of our whole mission, was to make sure that our product gives as human-like a response as we can.
Our next team is Zenyai.
Thank you all for joining us today. We are Zenye. We turn text into sound design. Now, all of you may know before that we were the company that turned emotions to sound for children with autism. So based on the learnings that we've learned here at DifferenceMaker, we learned that the technical feasibility, understanding that it is too hard to create a one-size-fits-all AI with this wide spectrum of autistic children. Not only that, the market is too small. So that's where we were looking into the information further and looking at the market and seeing, okay, what in the market is happening now that AI can actually tap into? And that's where we saw the growing trend of AI videos. By the raise of hands, how many people have seen AI videos just come out of nowhere? All right, so you got, oh, this is amazing. So all you guys are seeing the growing trend in AI videos. So to me, this is perfect because I have a creative mind, and every single time I see something like this, I say, what does that sound like? Wait, hold on, wait, what does that sound like? What does a basketball sound like when it bounces on the boom and fairy dust? What could that possibly sound like, right? So obviously there's a growing trend, which means there's a growing need to fill that, the sounds for the videos, and that's where our AI can turn text to sound design, sounds you have never heard before, to tap and fit into the visuals for the growing trend. Not only will this reduce the time spent of designing sounds. I'm a sound designer. I know how long it takes to create sounds. It's a lot of iterations and all these yada yada stuff. But now you can just tap into your typing skills, and now you can listen to what your thoughts think. Crazy. So obviously there's a big growing market into this. Sora, there's Luma AI. I'm talking to all these different companies that are really releasing their new models now. And I've seen it on Twitter, I've seen all these different things. Indie game developers, indie film developers are now using this, and marketers too are using this to enhance their customer engagement and customer engagement. So with our song, we're gonna tap first into the indie film developers, and that's how we're gonna start off. Afterwards, there's so many different, there's a wide spectrum of what we can use this for. And for the TAM, there's so many things that we can do with this as well. Sound design is one of the things that really immerse people into any content creation. The biggest market is content creation. Raise your hands again, how many guys have you heard of Suno AI? Suno, going once? There it is, we got 3 people. How about 11 Labs? 11 Labs is another one. 11 Labs is another one that does text to speech. So if you ever hear a AI speaking, that's 11 Labs basically. With Udium, there's Ava. So all these different companies are doing text to voice, text to music, but we're the first company that's doing text to sound design. A sound you have never heard before. And that's how we actually get the competitive edge for these films. Let that sit in. So for the traction now, we actually have 2 LOIs from an indie gaming company and an indie film company. I've talked to them a little bit. So while in the middle of the DifferenceMaker competition program, I was talking to these gaming companies and indie companies, and they actually like it. The lead sound developer for an indie game company, can't remember the name right now. So he actually likes it. He knows what it means and what it takes to actually create the sounds too. So that's where I got the LOI from. There's actually 11 here in Boston, which is actually pretty amazing. And yeah, there's a growing waiting list. I'm actually growing a waiting list of different content creators who could actually use this to utilize and really enhance their immersion for their providers and for their audiences as well. So go-to-market strategy, start off with sound for AI videos. Yes, indie studios, more established studios, and then moving to the whole spectrum of content creators. So that's what our go-to-market strategy will be like. And then for the future market, of course, game, film, musicians, podcast storytellers, and even electric cars. I've actually have a friend in Bose who actually has a friend in Honda who's actually looking for more sounds for the future immersion of electric vehicles, because companies want to differentiate their cars. That's a whole other thing that we can tap into later down the line, but that's just what it could actually look like in the future. The funds, obviously, we're actually raising right now for our pre-seed. We're talking to, I have a team right now at MIT who are actually developing the AI, and we're raising right now the pre-seed so we can get the AI down and right. So,
so my first question is, I've seen a lot of these videos on social media. They're AI generated, they're designed to capture the attention of the viewer, and they definitely succeed in that. You can see the view counts. However, a lot of these, they can get a little bit stale. So how do you plan to make your AI create these so-called unique sounds when it seems, at least to my understanding, that typically AI is only really, at this point, regurgitating what it's already heard?
good question. So the AI, we're using a diffusion model. A diffusion model is a type of model for AI. So that's what we're using. Everything just comes down to the data. What kind of data do we have? So we have to make sure the data is actually unique in and of itself to then create more creative sounds. So the AI can base everything off the data that we use and create as well. So then if you have a sound that you're thinking of creating, like same thing with a basketball on the moon pixie dust, you can use that, and that's where the data comes in.
This is more of a personal question, but what would you like to see as an AI go with this? Like, would you rather it go in more of a Hollywood direction, gaming?
We're having a lot of traction on both ends, to be completely honest. So the Hollywood side, again, indie gaming and indie film, it's just in my numbers. We just have to look at the data. I think right now it's too early to tell, but I have a future of this being inside all. That's my future. I want it in all, but we just have to start somewhere.
Do you have a training data set?
Yeah, and we're growing it too.
Yeah, first of all, I love how you're so expressive with the presentation. My question is, so basically would users input, would you give users the opportunity to input their sample sound designs, their sample wave files, like stuff from Cubase, and then the AI will be able to build off of that?
Yes, actually. So that's actually one of the things that one of the indie game developers said too. So if they wanted to further enhance their sound, they can implement their own audio in it as well. So then the AI can use that in order to create a different sound to make it better.
Nice job. How do you envision the IP working on the sounds and music that's created in your system?
Right, so that's where the data comes in. So really the data comes down to making sure we collect ethical data. So not just getting it from YouTube and anywhere else. We're actually, for the our YouTuber who has different, those 1 hour videos that you listen to for music. So he's actually one of my collaborators. So I'm using some of his data sets to then train the AI on that. Afterwards, it's just ethically collaborating with more and more different institutions, different sound libraries, getting their data, and then just continue to collect it. Not only that, I'm also a sound designer too, so that's where the future down the line comes in. The funding will come in where we hire sound designers to then create further unique sounds to then use that to then train the data.
The model uses text to sound. Is there an opportunity to advance that to visuals to sound so that it automatically sings?
Oh yeah. So that's another thing that we're doing next. That's actually, you talk about phase 3 in our timeline. So the AI will soon be able to, the videos that they create in the other channels, they can edit the video into our platform right now. So our AI will be able to see what's happening and then create audio off of that. So that's actually phase 3, what we were talking about. So yeah, that's actually further down the line, yeah.
Good. All right, next team is Zipper Buddy. What?
Where did it go?
There
it is. Okay. Hi! Oh wow, it's really loud. I'm Sandy. I'm a liberal arts major. My company is Zipper Buddy. Well, I'm up here solo. I have not been alone. I've had DifferenceMaker as my team, so if I leave anything out, please ask me leading questions. Okay, so Zipper Buddy is a adaptive clothing solution that attaches to the user's upper body zipper garment, transforming the closure into a user-friendly one-handed fastener. So for people with mobility differences who would struggle to use a zipper because it requires the full use of 2 hands, this circumvents the zipper and allows them to independently fasten their garment. This is a picture of Bob, who inspired Zipper Buddy with he's wearing it. I got a little slide happy because I'm like so excited to share all this stuff with you guys. So I'm gonna have to rush through a couple things now. Yep, I told you, it takes 2 hands to connect zipper teeth. There's a lot of people who are impacted. The other options that are out there are not addressing this specific issue. There's nothing that attaches to your pre-existing clothing, allows you to maintain your wardrobe, and then adapt it to your needs. I narrowed down my customers and my segments to people with different abilities, parents, professionals, and caregivers, but I'm going to just focus on the professionals and caregivers moving forward because we have some really exciting things in the works. I have a partnership with the Lifespan Hospital Network of Rhode Island, and so they're going to be doing a case study and putting the Zipper Buddies in multiple of their rehab facilities, physical therapy and occupational therapy, and I'm so excited about it because it's going to give me feedback about the people who are using it as well as the caregivers who are implementing the solution, which I forgot. I'm going to backtrack for a moment. The thing is with Zipper Buddy, it does require help with the initial installation, but once it's installed, you can leave it there, and then it gives people that independence. We are also in talks with a partnership with a company that has a universal zipper adapter, which is super, super exciting. This is gonna circumvent my needing to zipper match. There aren't that many types of zippers that are most commonly used. However, having a universal zipper adapter obviously is gonna solve a lot of issues with like inventory and things like that. So we are currently in negotiations for a licensing deal and figuring out how that's gonna work. Other exciting things, I just recently obtained zipperbuddy.com. Really, really happy about that. So we do not have to be like Facebook and spend $200,000 to drop the that. Now our next steps, we need to create an online presence. I have the .com, I have the socials, but I have done zero advertising, zero marketing. Everything that we've accomplished so far has been through word of mouth. I need a little bit of direction with that. I am nervous, to be frank. So yeah, I need to, wow, this is so lit. Okay, so I need to learn how to tell my story and to kind of get the word of Zipper Buddy out there, which is another exciting thing is I'm gonna be at Ignite IdeaCon. So that's gonna give me an opportunity to kind of learn how to do that and I have our launch date set for September 24th, which might seem very advantageous, but every other deadline that I have set for myself, I have exceeded. So please let me know if you have any questions.
You have September 24th as your launch date. I'm a marketer, okay? So my question is, when you talk about launch, what is your expectation that what you're going to have done for September 24th? That's not far.
I'm gonna have, well, I mean, my launch is gonna be small for the first is 100. And then my next goal was 1,000. And so I have a designer and a seamstress who does like small scale manufacturing. She's doing our tech packs, and she's going to be making. She can make up to 1,000 of them, and the costs are pretty good.
Okay, so your launch is having the product ready for distribution, a small scale distribution. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes.
Okay.
How does it work?
Okay, so yeah, you want to? Awesome. We're gonna get a Zipper Buddy to show you instead of me miming out how it works. In the interim, does anyone have a question while I wait to do a demo?
Can this be integrated into any kind of clothing line, or?
Yeah. So that is how it's supposed to work. It's supposed to zip on or slide on, depending on whether I use the universal adapter or the zipper matching. And then it works with your own clothing. So, okay. Black hoodie, pre-existing. This part in the middle is a Zipper Buddy. So it just zips on to the zipper on each side. You can all see that. And then it transforms the closure into hook and loop or Velcro. And then you just one-hand it. You want to try it? I have like tons of them too, so you can touch them, play with them. I've got all the different prototypes from the beginning.
I don't think it'll fit, but.
It's okay.
Well, I tucked the pockets in to make it more human-like, so it's actually like not as little as it looks.
How much would they go for?
That is a good question. Wholesale or retail?
Wholesale.
Okay, so so wholesale for without the universal adapter. For what my costs are right now, including labor, and on the higher end, it's around $45 to $50. But I'm also like kind of working on my cost structure, because how I was doing it originally was like ×2 wholesale ×3 retail, and I was told that I should be doing it ×4 plus 10%. So I'm still kind of learning the math for these things.
You showed an elderly individual using this. Have you considered the children's market?
I have. So children up to age like 5 or 6 are developing, they're refining their motor skills. And so there's this age between like 3 and 6 where they have the ability and the desire to be independent, but they can't do something like a zipper yet. So that's why at preschools and things like that, you'll see all the little kids running around with their coats open because the teachers can't wrangle them up. So this would be perfect for implementation in those situations as well.
So follow up to the question before, what is the lifespan of your product? How long does it last? How many open enclosures? How typical use time?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I've thought about that in depth. Obviously, I need to make sure that the quality of the Velcro is a certain level so that it can maintain it. I would say that right now, I mean, I'm only gonna know once I get it into use. I've been wearing them, opening and closing them, throwing them to the washer or dryer, like stomping on it, like doing everything I can to break these things down. And I expect that they will last between 2-3 years at minimum, and I'm being generous because of zippers and how they can just break down in any way.
I'm gonna say, there's a potential for, advertising on the logos or whatever.
I agree.
So do you already have collaborators in industry that you're working with to test out the product?
I mean, like the hospital. What do you mean?
Yeah, like a hospital, for example.
Yes, I have the hospital and an assisted living facility.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Well, thank you, teams. Great job tonight. Let's give all the teams a hand. So I'm going to recap the mentor program, and then we'll do some networking, and that'll basically, after I do my recap, the networking will, my conclusion will be the final part, and then networking after that. So we just, wrong folder. Stop. There we go. Let me just get to my. So please look out for my email that I'll be sending. It'll be coming from me, have my name. You may also get an email from Qualtrics, but it'll say my name, even though it might be a Qualtrics email. And please complete the survey. I'd like to try to get it done by July 19th. I'm hoping to get everything out tomorrow. And then, and basically thank you for supporting the Difference Maker, our students. They appreciate it, we appreciate it, all your input. It just provides a lot of valuable guidance and help to them. Are there any questions before we go into networking? So, if there's no questions, so if there's mentors, if there's a team you're interested in, please speak with them and give them your email address, because that will be part of things that will help with mentor matching and teams. If you meet mentors that you find helpful, feel free to ask them for their email address as well. So have a great night, everybody. Enjoy the networking, and I'll be here for questions for Difference Maker, for mentoring. Oh, you have a question? Sorry.
Quick question.
Sure.
Do you want teams to be either posters for the networking, or do you want us, where do you want us?
I think if you want to go to your poster, that's fine. If somebody saw you and wants to come up to you right now, that's fine too. If you have multiple people here, maybe send someone to the poster and somebody stay in here. Good question though, thank you. Any other questions? All right, well have a great night. Thank you again for supporting the Difference Maker.